Yes, here we go, chapter and verse.
Hello.
Hey,
How's it going, boys?
Good, how are
Good,
you?
mate. Yeah.
Welcome to Glasgow.
Thank you.
We've got a traditional Glasgow present for you since you're our first ever real guest on Rebel City podcast.
If it's not Buckfast, I'm going to be...
Yes!
Rebel City or
So,
podcast
a
brought to
bottle
you
of
by
Buckfast for you
Buckfast.
to enjoy later on.
Oh, you're a
I
diamond.
literally put on my Instagram earlier today, we're in Glasgow and I plan to drink as much Buckfast as possible.
That's, if you're not a hardened Buckfast drinker, that's too much. That'll give you a pretty dark shite in
It's
the
going to
morning.
blow my head off. Thank
Do
you.
you think a bottle of Buckfast blows your head off?
It's become somewhat an acquired taste for me, so I think I've built a tolerance, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You'll no need a coffee for 4 days.
Fair.
You're not?
No.
Jesus.
There's enough caffeine in there to bring down an elephant.
Aye.
Really?
It's the caffeine level on Buckfast is like probably about 10 Starbucks, something like that. 10.
Wow.
So it's like heart palpitations. You can make some amazing cocktails with Buckfast.
I bet.
Buckfast and milk.
Mate, that sounds
And
great.
milk?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds
Or
rough.
Cream is amazing.
See, we just have to believe you at this point. You could be talking absolute shit.
But it is made by the Benedictine
Exactly.
monks in Buckfast Abbey.
Do you know that this statistic's wildly wrong, but fuck it. 80%, 85% of Buckfast is sold in Coatbridge, which is a region that's probably about like 2 miles by 2 miles in the east end of Glasgow.
Really?
And it's 85% of all sales worldwide.
It's made
with
in
Buckfast.
Devon.
And it's made in Devon. Aye, so there you go.
Great.
Thanks, man.
I was always a bit disappointed as a churchgoer in my younger days that it's not what the priests use, because I think it would be so much more interesting if everybody was in the
Yeah.
Buckfast. You know what I
Liven
mean?
it up a bit.
Yeah.
Get a lot more people in the door, so you would, you know what I mean?
Get the party started.
It would be more like the gospel churches. Everybody would be like praising the Lord. So you're on tour, guys.
Uh-huh.
How's the tour going?
Really good, thank you. Really good. Out with an Australian band called Hellions, and we are now about 12 days in. Been away with days off as well. We've been away for about 2.5 weeks now. It's been going really good. We're really nice people and really cool bands, and it's been fun.
hmm I know quite a bit about your band, obviously, because we've played a couple of gigs with each other when I was in Paradigm Shift. And just tell us a wee bit. I actually don't know much about how your band began. Like, I just know the music, and then you guys, which are obviously like your sound. So I'd like to know a wee bit more, if that's all right.
Cool, yeah. Well, we started off, we were all in bands previous originally, and it came to a time when we thought a reshuffle was necessary. So a few of the previous band carried on into Chapter and Verse, which is me, Darren and Jay. And then we went internet shopping for our drummer and
Literally.
dropped on.
How did you find them?
It was on one of them quirky, if not a little bit unreliable. yeah, Grinder. No, yeah, it was just on one of them freaky websites where generally most of the most of the people on there are just not very good or useless or not fitting.
It was like last resort. We'd like spoken to everybody, got as many recommendations as possible, and been like, oh, fuck, let's go internet dating. Went on this site thinking that we'll see if anything comes of it. And then about 3 people came back like really keen, and we tried them all out. And this one dude happened to be Ash, and it was just like we all still say it's like serendipitous. We all just feel like it just had to happen.
For sure, man, because he's a fucking absolute beast.
Yeah, he's a
he is.
monster, and he's like not just that as well. Like he's the same kind of temperament as all of us. We've got the same sense of humor, similar style, taste in bands, like everything. It's weird how like everything just kind of went.
just just fashion sense that match up. He dresses shit.
Yeah,
You can't have everything. I'd rather
important is
him
that?
be able to drum.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. But you need the full package, I suppose. Don't you?
Yeah.
So after that, was it just gigs? What was it like?
Well, we'd already written an EP between the 3 of us. I play drums as well, so we had already been in the studio and recorded a whole record, and we were just about to start filming music videos for it. So we were like, right, we need a drummer to be there. So yeah, we got this drummer in and Ash, and we filmed videos and started the release for that. And that was really just the kind of thing to get us out on the road and doing some shows and try and get a bit of a team behind us and stuff, which we did over the course of about 8 months. And kind of simultaneously we worked with Ash, who'd obviously brought a new dynamic to the band, and we worked on a second EP, which is what we're currently releasing now.
Okay.
So yeah.
So the tracks that are up on iTunes, so that's Magazines, and
A track called Devil in Blue.
are they off the new EP?
Yeah, they're
Well,
both off it.
absolutely buzzing to hear the rest of it then. 'Cause the two tracks, honestly, man, fucking world beaters, as I was saying to you earlier on, man.
Thank you.
Like, loving them.
We're buzzing to release it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So when's that all due?
Not sure yet, but it'll be this year,
Okay.
for sure.
And how's it looking? Is it another 2 tracks, another...
It's a 5-track EP, so we'll probably put out a third one as a single with a video sometime soon, and then probably not long after we'll release the remainder of it, and you'll be able to hear it all in the way it's meant to be in succession, and a couple of extra tracks.
Yeah, we've got this thing going on at the moment with the videos where we'd actually, between Magazines and Ink, which will be the single we release next, they've got a kind of continuous storyline throughout them. So we've kind of weaved in the message that we wanted to put through the EP between these videos. So you've got the Magazines video now, which follows the story of this girl with her glow, which kind of, which is the name of the EP, which kind of encompasses her ambition and like her positivity, and what happens when that gets taken away in like a family environment. And then Ink goes on to like be the prequel to that, and you see why she's the state that she's in when she's in Magazines. So it's all kind of got a big through line, which is quite cool. It's been really fun doing that
Concept.
process. Yeah.
Where did the concept come from? Somebody's own idea, or something you've worked on together?
I think it was just an idea that sprung up at one point. We were talking about how to do, how to release Glow and what videos to do and stuff. And we, the songs are quite diverse. Like when you hear the EP as a whole, it's not like 5 magazines. It's 5 quite diverse tracks.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure that there was something that linked everything together, because for us they're not so diverse. They've all come from a similar place, and even though ostensibly they sound quite different, we wanted to make sure that they felt like they were a unit. So yeah, we put a story that kind of we created a story out of the 5 that are in the EP. So yeah, it was just an idea somebody had, and then we all just thought it was cool. And
there's always throughout the tracks, even though they're diverse, there always seems to be a kind of theme of self-betterment.
Yeah. And
we always like the idea of illuminating your corner of the world. So even though the shit's going on around you, you make the best of what you have at your disposal.
That's nice.
So that's kind of, even though the songs about their separate individual topics, that's the theme that seems to always be threading it together.
It wasn't something we realised until we like finished the EP, and we were thinking about the name for the EP because we didn't have one, and we were like assessing what the whole thing is about, like what's the overall thing that we get from this, and we suddenly had this realisation that although they're different topics, they're all, like Johnny says, from a similar place of like self-improvement and looking at stuff that is you're bad at or other people have done bad by you and all that kind of stuff, and growing up a bit, I guess.
That's cool, man. I like that you've had some separate tracks and you've managed to like, link them together, and I think that a positive message is something that's missing in music. I think it's either consumes, it's either like corporate music, either that or it's everything shit. And I think like a positive message, especially in a medium like a concept album, so like for a guy like me, sort of 30s, that's something that really grabs me, like a concept, because I'm geeky about music.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's about like self-improvement as well, something that grabs me in like the
I
places
think that's
that
quite
I'm sort of-
unusual as well, because your actual sound, you know, and that kind of, you know, rocky kind of metal edge that you've got, like, that positive message isn't necessarily something that I readily kind of associate with that sound. So it's a nice kind of juxtaposition. In terms of when, you know, you go for coming for the concept to the writing, when you're making videos and, you know, all the kind of multimedia content and all that kind of stuff, is that yous, or yous working with somebody else, or yous?
Well, me, Josh, and Darren, we come from we all met at drama school, so we like to be quite involved in all the creative process. Because it's something, it certainly appeals to me. Like I wouldn't like to get to a point where it was dictated to me. I'd always like to have a hand in the artistic, whatever the artistic output is. I'd like to have a hand in it. And with that, we're very much a fan of collaborating with the people that are around us, and we're quite fortunate because we went through that arts training. We've got people that are on the same level as us and the same way of thinking, that everyone just wants to get their work out there and help each other and create, which is quite rare. So, for example, with the Magazines and Ink video, that was my friend Craig from home in Wakefield, who does a lot of directing, but we jumped on board with him, collaborated with him, which is nice, because like I say, neither of you are dictating, it's all just a combined effort, which is really nice.
We like Johnny says, like we're all like very in charge of our own creativity within the band, but we have tended to find that we like naturally gravitate towards other people who have their own like creative outputs, like yourselves that do, you know, podcasts and bands and stuff like that. And some of our friends are, you know, film directors and you know, trying to do similar things with all that creative outlets. We seem to just get on with those kind of people. So yeah,
There's also there's not a harsh line between it either. We don't consider it to be like music, theatre, acting,
It's all
dance.
your product.
To me, it's all fairly combined. So, I mean, we've certainly chatted a lot about the theatre of a set and how at the moment like we can push that, and that's kind of not being big-headed, but that was kind of our expertise. It's what we trained in. So, I feel like it, you know.
I think that's one of the big things when you talk about the theatre of the set and stuff. I think that's when I've seen you recently and on previous occasions, that energies have got live, that sort of, you know, you're interacting with the crowd, you're really sort of engaging. Like, it's something that just almost instantly sort of sold me on yous when I went to see yous, and it's something that I'm looking forward to tonight as well.
We enjoy crafting a set. We like to think about what we're doing to an audience, so how it makes them feel. So whether we don't want like it just to be 7 songs in a half an hour set, we like it to have its ups and downs.
You're out on the road, you're going to see a lot of shoegazers, I'd imagine, and it's definitely not that.
No.
If we all like sat down as a four and talked about like our favourite shows of all time that we've like ever been to, they're all shows where we've come away feeling a particular way, as opposed to being like adoring a person that's amazing at, you know, their instrument or whatever. Like we're not really into music for just kind of exploring a skill set. We're more interested in what that skill set can do. So that's kind of where it comes from.
And with that, on top of that, to add to it, when you ask us like about his inspirations, there's never a direct kind of inspiration for the way that our music's come out. We've always said from the beginning that we were very much just interested in like how organic something is, or like how honest it is, and how raw it is. So that could be anything from like R&B or hip hop to like metal to rock to pop, but as long as it has that authenticity, that's what inspired us, which is why, I don't know, maybe it's why we are alt rock and not just like a steady rock, because it's like it doesn't have we have not pulled direct influences. It's just
And it definitely is something that kind of sticks. 'Cause I think at the end of episode 1, when we kind of trailed your video, we were trying to find ways to kind of describe what it is you do just as an intro, and I was a bit like, well, do you know, I don't know how to pigeonhole these guys at all. So one of the questions I was going to ask was about, I was going to ask about influences, but you got there in front of me, so
there's bands that, don't get me wrong, there's bands that we love.
Yeah, massively.
That have inspired us, that are on a similar vein. Bands like Circa Survive, in like bands like Marmozets, bands like
all kinds of
Father Son, like these bands, but you'd look at them and you put them next to us and you wouldn't necessarily think they were direct inspirations. It's just bits and pieces, and we've all got our separate inspirations as well, in terms of like Jay came from a much heavier background, didn't you, in terms of like Slipknots and Linkin Parks, and I went through a very indie background with my Libertines and Strokes.
Right.
Darren's a huge Metallica fan, and Ash is just, she's got his shit fashion sense, and that's it. He's away on holiday at the moment. We've got a stand-in drummer for the last 4 shows. He's fucked off to Greece, so we're trying to rib him as much as possible.
He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fully going to open this back fast.
Go for it, mate.
Thank
Go for
you.
it. Cool. Sounds like I went through every phase that you just described there. So I went through Metallica. I get introduced to Metallica by my brother-in-law at 14. So I went
It's lovely that. Sorry, mate, go on.
That's all right, mate. I went through Metallica, and then I went through the new metal phase, and I went and seen Slipknot. I seen Slipknot at the Barrowlands. I think they came here and got banned, and it was so good.
I bet that was insane.
So I dogged school. Do you know what dogging school is? What was it? Truant. So I played truant at school and went to the Virgin Megastore, rest in peace, and got some stuff signed by Slipknot, and somebody gave Corey for Slipknot a pickled shit in a jar. Yeah, I'm sure they spoke about it.
They're not a Buckfast?
No, a Buckfast shit. If it was a Buckfast shit, they was in for some fucking trouble. The shit you have after I bought a Buckfast are epic. But they spoke about it at like MTV tour. I was there, and then I went through the indie. I got into the sort of indie, not really the Libertines, but definitely like Kasabian, the Killers, like that sort of
hugely.
Yeah, like 2003. Like, so I went through every sort of phase that you just described in your band, which is cool. What's your creative process like? Apart from, I've seen the Instagram thingy where you're just doing nothing. So
Yeah.
it's a bass player doing his job. To be fair, just
exactly.
have a fag.
What
And,
do you expect?
It kind
Pipe.
of varies. A lot of generally, what will normally happen is somebody will come forward with pretty much most of a structure, but just on an acoustic guitar or just on an unplugged electric. So that's the way I personally tend to write. Is I'll write like as much as I can, figuring out where I want the vocal to lead, like how the like progression of the melody is structured, and then once there's like a bit more of an idea, maybe a couple of minutes of music, it gets brought to the table and it gets firstly kind of edited. People say the bits that they like and the bits that they don't, and then everybody starts to add their pieces. So a bass line will get added, and Ash is like a monster for harmonies, which is a big thing for our band. And so yeah, it's a lot of what it will be is somebody will come with something that they're like, yeah, I've got all of these pieces all stuck together, and everybody then as a group figures out how to improve it and make it cooler. And
cool.
It's very rare nowadays that we were chatting, weren't we, yesterday about like getting in a room and just standing opposite each other. We were actually talking on the way here about it. Like it's very rare that we have time to just kind of look at each other and hope something happens. Yeah. We don't have time to do that, unfortunately, anymore. So we find it a lot more productive now to have something to bring into the room. And whether we don't have egos, so like whoever it is, like Jay or Ash, like Ash is.
Well, I mean, I have a massive ego, but I just have to suppress it.
Yeah, we just have to squash that. But,
Frontman syndrome.
yeah, he has not done one loading yet. This whole talk.
But does he have to load in the night? That's it. Just walk upstairs with the night and just go.
Just bringing my throat in.
Loaded. That's it. Your body's your instrument. Mate. Go to the gym. Go for a massage. He just needs to take care of his instrument.
Frontman. You know what I mean?
Singer to singer.
Members of the same union. You know what I mean?
So do you have? Because I'm sure as anybody will testify that's been in a band with me, I'm a bit of a fucking Stalin. Which I don't like, if I'm being honest, but generally if I think back I tend to side with the person that wins.
Okay.
Every time.
Right.
So I decide, like, ultimately already inside my mind anyway. I don't really, but is there somebody in the band that calls the shots? Who's like the
not really.
Or if you say
you're
were
saying not really
split-
because it's generally you.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it you? Aye, the one that goes, it isn't me, then it's
it's Josh. It is you.
But it's
We all the reason why we believe it works well is because we all have our different roles within it, kind of thing. And Josh and Ash do a lot of the core writing, and Darren then adds the textures. And I hold my hand up and say, whilst I'm in that writing process, I feel that I feel like my what I'm good at is like orchestrating it, putting it together. So I'm not as good when there's nothing there, but whilst there's something there, then I feel that that's when my strengths come in.
For sure.
I don't think I don't think as well
that role isn't to be diminished or in any way. Because
God, no.
see, when it came to my band, even though I would be the one that's like try to make the sort of the decision, but seeing who's got the right idea or whose song is it, maybe thinking politically. That's what I'm saying, that I would have the sort of cast and vote. But I would do what you were doing. I would be like, chop that there, put that there, like arrangement.
Once you can see
John
it,
Paul Jones did.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, fucking
I'm
genius.
like
The genius.
I'm a complete clusterfuck of ideas. Like that's what just generally the way I write. Like especially with lyrics, I just have to figure out what my point is, and then I just write everything down that I can think of, and then I start to piece it all together. So a lot of the time it is really, really necessary because I'll come forward with something that is everywhere. Yeah. And it needs other people to kind of say, well, that bit's shit. You know what I mean?
And in our last band, the previous band that we talked about, there was 5 of us, so it literally just come down to a vote. But whilst there's 4 of us, it's
harder.
Difficult. Yeah.
We never
goes to deadlock, doesn't it?
We never do anything that's if one person's unhappy, everybody's unhappy.
Yeah,
right?
for
That's
sure.
the way it works.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's cool. At least I like that you're aware that you've got chaos, because I think, like, for me sometimes it takes so much to come up with an idea, even if it's a lyric or whatever, that if somebody's like, I don't know, dude, maybe you should go down a different route, I would tend to be like, fuck you. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, we'll just not do anything. Like,
Yeah.
which is just me. Like, that's my ego, and I quite like that you're like saying I need other people to come in and arrange, because that kind of openness is ultimately what would work. I think.
I do. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Have your
I do have
moments.
to grit my teeth if I come forward with an idea and I'm like psyched about it, and they're like, nah. I have to be like, okay, do something else.
We do kind of have that ethos of like, if there's numerous ideas, we'll try each one to as best as we can, and then we'll pick.
And that's for sure.
We never
Yeah.
turn down an idea. We'll try it. It might be
Yeah.
time consuming, but in the end, it's beneficial because you don't end up just squabbling and hating each other.
Yeah, for sure, and that's ultimately the place where we ended up as a band, where it was always, even though I was saying that I was more of a star, and it was more that I could keep calm, because I wouldn't write any of the songs. Like, I would be sort of second fiddle to somebody that would write a song. So normally people would bring me their music, and then I'd be like, let's do this, let's do that. So I could keep a calm head and stop people from getting emotional about their art, which is totally a reasonable thing. If somebody shits all over something that you've spent 5 hours crafting, then I totally get that. So it's cool to hear a different sort of creative process as well.
We're still like very much learning about our process as well, because we just went away and did a week's worth of writing. We locked ourselves in a cabin in North Wales for a week writing songs, and the one thing that I personally really, really took away with that from that whole process is that I expected myself to be able to turn up and just kind of spew ideas like off the top of my head and stuff, and that week taught me that I am not good at that at all. I'm good at sitting by myself and sitting in my own head and figuring out an idea, but improvising around it and stuff is something that I find quite difficult. Whereas Darren, our guitarist, is incredibly dexterous. He's like really well versed in scales and rhythm stuff. He's just incredibly good at guitar, which means that you can kind of present him with an idea, and one of us can say, dude, it needs a fucking whittly 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 whittly, and he'll go, okay, and he'll improvise a whittly whittly whittly, whereas I can't do that. So yeah, we're still very much learning about what each other needs. I
think that when it comes to the difference between a guitar player, for instance, and getting back at the buck fast, a guitar player and somebody that's trying to improvise. You can have one if you want one. Try to improvise, like singing or like melody, is that a guitar lick is a guitar lick. But if you're trying to improvise lyrics, vocal melody, tonality, or you're thinking about all these different things, and for me, it's whenever I've been presented with that type of situation, I've been shit, and that's just because I go within myself and just like, I can't do this, you know, that type of thing. So I think it's very different for somebody that's practiced guitar and really good at guitar to be able to just hit out with something versus I'm just in total frontman's union here.
I always thought when I was younger that my ethos was, right, if I practice this instrument within an inch of its life, by the time I'm really sick at it, I'll never have the point. I'll get to the stage where I'll never go, oh no, that's crap, because I just will instinctively not do crap things. Do you know what I mean? Like that was like my thought. The better I get a guitar, the less I'll play shit guitar. Yeah. And that just never happens. And sometimes it needs somebody else to like either pull you out of that like doubt where you like put something forward and you're like, I'm not sure, and you know, somebody says, yeah, but, or whatever, or vice versa. An idea that you think is great and might not be great.
Yeah,
sure. It needs other people. And
I once told Josh that one of his songs wasn't memorable, and it was one of the worst things I've ever done.
I was heartbroken.
But what it wasn't that it wasn't memorable. That wasn't what I was trying to say. It was just my choice of words. What I was trying to say is that the chorus that he wrote was good, but it needed, because often what we do is have choruses on like 3 levels. We'll have like an empty chorus, then we'll have like the second chorus, which is like as it is, as you'd expect it, and then a third chorus, which is like you'll fuck with it slightly to make it slightly more interesting. It kind of progressively gets bigger. And this one does that, and I kind of said the chorus is that, what I was trying to say is the chorus is that good that you need to just hit it 3 times and that leave it there, like it's pretty much a poppy rock tune, so just leave it there. But I said it wasn't memorable, and this was like over Facebook chat where there's no like, you couldn't see a body language or anything.
So it was like a virtual bow and arrow that just went and I was like waiting for the message to went beep. But yeah, we got over it. We got
did
over it.
So in terms of your visit to Wales, is that the first time you have went to band camp essentially, and
Yeah,
did you run into any scenarios
is
when writing that you maybe had to go and disappear into separate rooms or any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, we did spend most of the week drunk.
Well,
Which did help. I mean, yeah, it's the first time we've ever done it. We've done lots of like weekend sessions before. So we'll hire there's a studio near us that is run by some friends of ours, and we quite often will hire it out for 2 days straight and just lock ourselves in a box. But for this, we were like, we're going to do that, but much more extended in a whole new place and see if it inspires anything else out of us. And yeah, it was tough. We really like tried to stay in the room as much as possible.
Yeah.
And about 3 days in, you realise that you've not done any exercise, you're eating shit, you're drinking loads of beer.
The World Cup's on.
The World Cup was on at the same
We'll
time.
touch on that well.
We're all of a sudden. It is there were points where you have to be like, right, come on, and somebody else will be like, right, get your shit together and get behind that kit or whatever, you know.
But you know what? It's not just as easy as saying like the tunes that come naturally are the best tunes, because like we kicked about our second track that we're going to play today for about 6 months, and we really like that tune, and it actually transpired that after kicking it about for long enough, it actually ended up like a decent track. Sometimes I think it's quite easy to think if it's not happening naturally and you don't get that buzz where all four of you are up and in the room, and it's quite easy to think that it's not worth thinking about, and actually
I'm a real culprit for that as well. Like if something doesn't instinctively, if it doesn't bang quick.
I was just about to say, if you had the Santa Claus isn't a real moment in a band where you realise that you don't just stand in a room and go with some fairy dust and then all of a sudden they're trying, and it's like hours and hours and hours of practising harmonies and working on verses and choruses. How does that verse go into that chorus? I can remember having a conversation exactly what you just said. It was with a mate's girlfriend, and we had been struggling with a track for about 6 months or whatever it had been kicking about, and it was her boyfriend's track, and she was like, what's happened? And we were like, we're just working on it, and she's like, if it doesn't happen within 15-20 minutes, it's never going to happen. And I was like, right, well, where are you getting that from? And it was like, well, all these stories about like Oasis and like, I mean, Kurt Cobain wrote Smells Like Teen Spirit. You're like, I've heard like 9 different versions of Smells Like Teen Spirit where it progressively get better and better and better. So it's that realisation that it's work and you need to put the hours in. Did you have that like sort of like shit moment? Like,
we've had both sides of that. So Ink, which we're releasing next, that came together really well in the form of like we were probably working on something else, and then I played the start riff, and then from there on it kind of flowed straight through, didn't it? We wrote it probably within the day.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I said, Miracle Drugs, our second song of the set, we were kicking it about for so long, at the points where we were just like, this ain't gonna work. Like we might as well just bin it. But then something like a reshift in a chorus, and then that just inspires it. Then, and that's happened a few times, and it happened with magazines, happened with Miracle Drugs.
I think there's also like an element of the more we tour, well, it might have been me, I mean.
anyway, we're back.
Oh.
So what were we talking about there?
Yeah,
just songs that hit straight away and others that have taken time.
Yeah, there's the more a lot of people we've had a lot of people say to us like, for God's sake, stop touring and start releasing more music. And there's an element of us that understands that, but we're also to the point where, for a writing perspective, the more we tour, the closer we are, and the more we understand each other as people and musicians. And there are points where understanding how each other's individual process works massively benefits the writing. And you know, there's points where Johnny will say to me like, "Okay, let's take a break," because he'll see that I'm going, do you know what I mean? And vice versa. There's points where, you know, somebody like Darren, for instance, wants to just keep noodling and keep improvising over the top of something, and we have to understand that we just need to vamp that section until he's got what he wants, and then we can start again. And we're just getting used to understanding each other.
Which is a huge part. I mean, one of the guys that I was in a band with, I'll no name names because just in case they're like, what are you fucking talking about me on your podcast for? I knew through speaking to him that he was really like self-conscious, even though everybody else in the band was looking at him and going, this guy's great and stuff. He just felt really self-conscious about himself, and so I felt that I had to protect him a wee bit. If he came with an idea, I had to be like, it's almost like school teacher, like with a kid. I don't want to, it sounds like I'm being a dick, but it's no, I'm literally going like, give him that idea, bigging him up, bigging up his idea, and if he makes a suggestion, going, aye, that's a good suggestion and stuff like that. So I think knowing each other when you're in a creative process is vital. I mean, everybody makes the analogy it's like a marriage.
Yeah,
and it definitely is. I mean, emotions definitely run high, and I think if you don't know each other, it would be impossible.
And Johnny said about when he said that thing about the track, and I took it really badly. At the time, it was a little bit of a tiff, but it was 100% necessary, and I wouldn't have it any other way. We've now got to the point where we are 100% able to all speak our minds at all times, and that is 100% necessary. The most important thing is what we come out with at the end, and if it takes a bit of butting heads to get there, we all are on the same page. That
it's just indicative of the fact that you all care about what's going on.
Yeah. And we all love each other, and we all love the band and all that kind of stuff. So we just want the best out of it, and we all know that's where it all comes from. No matter what is said, it all comes from the same place.
Yeah, so we don't have time to dick about either, do we?
No,
like, dick about trying to be overly tactful. Like, say how it is, get on with it.
Yeah, for sure. It's an industry that's probably the hardest it's ever been to break. Like music industry, it was hard when I had a crack at it, and it's getting harder and harder. What keeps you going?
Talk live.
Buckfast,
Yeah.
Rocket fuel.
Playing live, certainly. Like, can't bear these bands that will just not
record.
Just record. Can't bear it. Like, it's the best part. Even like Ash will say he's the oldest and most fragile out of all of us, still ripping him. And he's like, he loves it, loves every part of it, loves loading in, loves loading out, loves socialising, loves the merch side of things, loves playing. Like, same for all of us. Like, that's the best part. If we weren't able to do that, I wouldn't be doing it.
And I'll go to a cheesy additive, which is along from the same point, which is the other guys in the band. Like, that is, for me, like the best thing about it is that when you have a knockback or something shit happens or something doesn't go the way you expect, there's three other people that are there that have a different take on it, or and at the end of the day, we spend, when we're on tour, go away for 3-4 weeks, 99% of the time we're not on stage. So you're in a van or in wherever you're staying or whatever you're doing. So you spend so much time in each other's company, you have to get like buoyed up by each other. I couldn't ever tour with people I don't want to spend time with. It would drive me mental.
For sure.
I mean, it seems definitely that the hard work is starting to pay off. I've seen some pictures on your Twitter and social media in recent weeks about the festival you recently played, and those pictures just looked absolutely amazing. Looked like he's got an absolutely excellent reception.
Yeah, we were made up, weren't we? Like,
mad. It was mad.
We were early doors on the main stage, which was a touch, because originally we were meant to be playing different days to Hellions, but because we were on tour with Hellions, which got announced after, it got shifted slightly and got shifted onto the main stage, which was equally as exciting as it was terrifying, because we'd not played a stage that size before, and let alone that many people. And there was a huge turnout, wasn't there? It was massive.
Yeah, it was like really shocked us.
So, biggest crowd you've played to?
Yeah,
easily.
And different to coming to the clubs and playing.
Yeah, it's like
different mindset.
When you do tours in little towns, like we were in Huddersfield last night, which is tiny, and when you're playing shows to 50 people, and there's a small proportion of that crowd that know your band well, it's can sometimes be a little bit like, you're like really slowly like trawling through it. But a festival is different because it's all these little towns that all come to the same show. So all of a sudden you've got loads of pockets of these 50 people that are all in the same crowd, and it suddenly becomes crazy. It's really weird.
So in terms of, like, obviously talking about seeing you live, there's a lot of energy, a lot of movement and stuff like that. How did that translate on the big stage? A bit lost or a bit more freedom?
I thought it went alright. But
we originally thought that would be something that we'd have to be very conscious of,
Yeah.
because it's the first time we've played with about 2 barriers and 20 meters or whatever it is between the stage and the audience. But actually, like, it felt more vibey than ever. Like, it felt like we didn't really have to worry about it. And the space was a luxury. Like, I'm not hitting him in the face with the end of my bass, and I'm not stepping on each other's leads, and like, that was insane. So actually, I feel like it translated really well.
Yeah.
We're all big worrywarts, and we always individually do everything that we can pre-show to preempt anything that might throw us off during the show. And that was like tenfold when we came to 2000 Trees and other like independent festivals and stuff. So we brought a sound technician along that knows our band really well and that we like and trust and all of that kind of stuff, and everything from the logistics of what we're bringing out on stage or when songs happen where and all that kind of stuff. Like, we really like honed in on what's going to make us feel comfortable.
Good.
So
And we're like, we do. I personally, I can't speak for you guys, but I thrive off a bigger audience. Like, I find it easier in front of more people. I don't shy away from it. I kind of, not in an arrogant way. I just prefer, even from when I did my drama, my theatre days, I preferred it when it was a full house because you could play off it.
I was just going to say that I always found that bigger crowds were easier to play in. I had mad nightmares karaoke. See, like, singing one-on-one with somebody. Fuck that shit, man. Like, so it's like, the bigger the crowd, and I think that when you've got a full crowd like that, I mean, that's kind of like that you're turning up and the game's on, rather than it being. I mean, I'm sure you have experienced as well that sometimes you turn up and you're like, this has got to be fucking banging, and it's like there's nobody there, and you're just like, what do I need to do? And then some, like, you guys are turning up expecting. I think that's really cool when you're turning up expecting just like, we'll just see what happens, and there's like a couple of thousand people there, man. The pictures were insane.
Yeah, it was.
So,
we were full.
Felt very
like
lucky.
beforehand, we were nervous. Like, we would line if we weren't said we weren't. Kind of coupled with excitement, but as soon as I got out there, my mind just cleared. I didn't think
mine
about
too.
it once.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So on the other end of the spectrum, then, tour nightmares.
tour nightmares.
Any?
I mean,
playing with my band. Played with these dicks in Glasgow one time.
that was great. That was a great show.
was a sick
Whilst you think of more embarrassing ones, last night I've never ever tripped up properly on stage, apart from one time about a year ago when I slipped on a lead and my feet went from under me and I literally landed on my back in the middle of the stage, and it was really embarrassing. But other than that, I'm all right. And last night I literally tripped over about 7 times in the space of half an hour. I stood on his feet twice and he was like, ah! I just tripped over everything: the monitors, the leads, Darren, the drum kit. I was a right mess.
There was a lot in the previous band, wasn't there? Like, turning up to venues. Do you know when you're first starting out and you kind of go wherever you're told, or go wherever you can get a gig? Like, where did we play? You played in like a gym in a swimming area.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Yeah,
That was the worst. We got booked for we did a show with a girl who put us on in Essex, and it was a pretty good show, and she said, we want to do another one in a different area of Essex. We're like, yeah, great. And then we literally turned up, and like Johnny said, it was a leisure centre, and there was a PA at the side of a bar, and on the other side of the bar there was a massive window where there's a swimming pool. So we started playing, and there was about 5 people watching the band, and everybody else was sat in like post-gym gear, like eating food, watching us. It was the weirdest thing in the world.
yeah.
And then a drunk guy in the toilet told me to quit my band, and he's going to make me the next Robbie Williams.
All right, okay.
So hard to turn
when's-
down. I can't believe.
I know
you
that.
I know.
This was going to say, when's that kicking off?
Yeah.
Solo
I'm
album
announcing
out
a solo project.
We did a show. It's not so much of a funny nightmare. It was a genuine nightmare at the garage in London with a band called Mathematics, and that's when we got. I don't know if you heard. We got all of the shit stolen
Oh yeah.
from the back of our car
Yeah,
at
that
the
was
time.
bad.
Don't
Mate, it
remember
was a
man.
nightmare. I'll be very brief because it's I've told it a million times. But essentially, the garage in London, it's got a tiny green room area. So being the first band on that night, and it was a sold out show. It was the last of a mini tour, and it went really well. Being the polite band we are, we were like, we'll make space for you, we'll load out, so then you guys can chill in the back. So I loaded it down to the car at the time, which is Schoolboy Error. Bear in mind, this is in North London, Highbury and Islington. It's not the best. all them high being Islington listeners. And we came back down. Window had been smashed, like thousands of pounds worth of gear gone. And anyway, so Darren kicks off. He goes mad. Never seen him so mad, running up and down the road shouting. I like to think I kept my cool. But anyway, a huge crowd gathers, and then these lads, like these 4 lads, bowled up to us and kicked my car door shut. And this is when the police are here, and he's just kicking it shut, starting like fucking mouthing off at us and stuff. So that all escalates.
Yeah.
Darren starts shouting back at him because he's so annoyed. Anyway, it gets de-escalated. They go around the corner. The police kind of say, you've got to wait for forensics or whatever, which is a load of shit anyway. That's not going to...
CSI London?
Yeah, exactly. That's never going to come into fruition or whatever. So the police fuck off. Everyone else goes. And then these lads come back. It wasn't 4, because if it was 4, we would have taken them on it. It was like 15 or something like that. Anyway, they come back and they start, and our girlfriend's in the car, like on the phone to the police again, and he comes back, you know, when they've got like his, you must get this in Glasgow all the time anyway. But it's like they come back with like their hands in their pockets as if to say they've got knives.
They've got something in their pocket.
Yeah, so they came back up and like squared up to us, at which point we just played the pathetic card and we were like, boys, we've had a terrible night. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
At the end of, like, what we kind of summarised is that they probably fucking stole the equipment, and we're the ones then at the end of the night apologising to them. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it wasn't the best.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It's no worth getting stabbed over, and I've had in
Nah.
previous bands as well, I've had a full van of equipment go. I think the only thing that they didn't touch was the drums. But Marshall amps and guitars, Gibson Les Paul, and everything gone. And you spend the first sort of 15-20 minutes going, it'll be about here somewhere. Like you're searching for a fucking packet of fucking peanuts or something.
Did we leave it on top of the van?
No. The ironic thing about that is that they busted the lock to get in the side door, but the back door you could open it with anything. It was a double bluff. And
The thing that makes me feel better about them stealing our stuff as well is that Darren used to have a 5150 guitar amp, and it is the heaviest guitar
they're
head you've
fucking
ever
bricks in
lifted.
them, man.
They're so heavy, and I get
Is it one of the combos?
No, it's just the head, but even that is
right.
lifting a boulder.
Yeah.
I just get such a kick out of thinking about that poor
Some
guy that's
fucker.
like, he's like, I'm going to nick it,
Gonna
and then
have that.
struggles all the way down the road with it. Why did I nick this?
Ends up with a hernia.
So after the EP, have you made any plans? Like what's happening after you've launched the EPs? Get tours coming up and
Yeah, more touring. So we'll hopefully do some more touring by the end of the year. We're putting some one large one and a couple of little bitty ones together. So you know what we're like. We won't be able to stay off the road for long.
Yeah.
And then come New Year, we'll start doing some new things, which I don't think we can talk about yet.
yeah, can't talk about it. No bother.
Look forward to them all the same.
Thank you.
So, listen to some of the lyrics. The lyrics are, we touched on this a wee bit earlier, but just want to touch on it again, is they're quite heavy. Is it yourself that writes all the lyrics? Or, yeah. So, how much do you find your creative outlet helps with like sort of like mental health, and is it like an outlet for you, like that type of thing?
Massively, massively. I write down loads. I write lots of thoughts and feelings or situations down like pretty much every day. I have and the notes section in my phone is just stacked with hundreds and hundreds of things. And it's only the really like poignant stuff for me personally that ends up getting put into tunes. So yeah, it is like the whole process of the band, both writing and live, is really cathartic, and it's something that we really like to do, and makes me feel a lot better. It's also really weird but nice for me to talk about something that's quite personal and bring it to the table, and also talk about it with these guys about it. And we often do that. It's never really just a case of these are my lyrics and that's it. Like, I'll often ask opinions and ask thoughts on this, and as much as we'll chat about the music, we'll chat about the topic and what it means and what it's saying and how I feel about it and stuff. So there is Yeah. I mean, in previous projects that I've been in, I wouldn't have nailed that. If somebody brought me lyrics and I felt that it was maybe something even heavy for them, I would be just like, nah, I don't even want to speak about it. So I suppose that's something. But I used to be more of a sort of sleepwalker when it came to sort of mental health, and not really acknowledging it and just being that sort of like getting through. So that's something like I admire, if that's the case, man. Like, you're sitting talking about your lyrics and you're getting that off your chest, man. That's like really admirable, especially for a bunch of guys. It's just lucky that these are the three guys in the band I play in are three of my friends. Like, when we're not touring and we're not writing, we hang out
Yeah.
as mates. So I'm quite lucky in that respect that it's easy for me to come forward and say, dude, I feel this
Yeah.
about this.
Safe space, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that these boys are never gonna judge me for it or tell me that what I think or feel is wrong. I don't know. Yeah, so it's cool.
It's nice to hear, man. It's good to hear that you sit down and like you are pals and stuff like that. Like it's definitely, this is part of this podcast. This is that we want to speak about like sort of men's mental health, and there's a lot of guys out there that are struggling. I mean, me and Matt have both struggled with like mental health issues in the past, and this is part of why we really want to. Well, definitely for me, I want to do this podcast so I can try and speak to people, and if anybody needs my help, like they can always just like contact me. Do you feel that like a creative outlet, like I've came to notice pretty much in the last like 6 months, since leaving my last band or that breaking down, I had this big massive void left. So see when these guys are on tour, do you do anything like to try and fill that void? Because mine's has been, I mean, not only have I got like a full-time relationship, but I go to martial arts 3 times a week. I'm back at uni doing this podcast. I'm just filling time with loads and loads of different things that I'm loving doing. But it seems like such a huge void that used to just be taken up by music and just doing that. So what do you do like to try and fill that when you're no touring? Or?
I think we're all like when we're at home we all quite like structure, so we're all, we'll all go to the gym and we'll all make sure that we make time for
I mean, I do, but you can't see it. This being
not
filmed.
not like anything crazy, but just to stay active,
Keep yourself healthy.
Yeah, just stay on top of it. And we all always make time for friends, and we're quite fortunate that back home we all live quite close together, and a lot of our like friendship circle are not music associated, so we're actually very lucky with other people, that when we go back we're able to spend time with people that aren't in that world. Like my girlfriend is not in, and your girlfriend is not in music at all, so
Apart from mine's a DJ, but yeah.
well yeah
She's really involved in music.
yeah, sorry, that was bad judgment.
He's just covering the bases, dude. He's just worrying about getting home and she's like, you said I wasn't into fucking music.
Sorry, Grace. Well, not in the band world. So yeah, it's nice to be able to go back and spend time with people that kind of you're able to talk to about other things, which is nice. But I don't know really.
We are constantly ticking over with music. Like we tend to rehearse like once a week, and when we're not rehearsing, we're writing at home. So we have constantly got that kind of feel of music. But more, on top of that, like having it, we're getting older as well. So whilst we're getting older, I've many chats with my girlfriend about like progressing the 2 parts of your life at the same time. And you'd have asked me 5 years ago and I'd have said you have to push one or the other. Like you have to either push your career, especially a creative career, because if you don't put 100% into that, you're getting taken over. And your personal life, I didn't think they were compatible, when actually after having worked on it, it's important that you progress them at an equal rate, otherwise you're going to isolate yourself and your mental health will go to shit. It's important that you have the foundations and build them both at the same time. So actually it's quite nice when your head isn't in music. It's quite nice to be able to concentrate on your home life and your girlfriend and the house, if you're going to buy a house, or things that will just make the other side more stable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We've had that conversation loads. It's actually like a really good point.
I don't think it sounds wanky at all, dude.
No.
I think it's something that I think that a lot of people, and you all know this situation where their girlfriends doing the website and their girlfriends she's a photographer, and then it's like their mates doing the sound, and like you're saying, you immerse yourself sometimes and you can put so much pressure, especially if everybody's feeding into this one sort of project and you're the linchpin and everybody feeds into that. And it's, I mean, even down to the point of people, I mean, we noticed this when I was in a band years ago, and when we split up, people were coming up to me and going, I don't see my mates anymore because we're not coming to your gigs. And you're like, that's crazy pressure to put, do you know what I mean? So you need me to be doing this so that we see each
becomes
other.
such an easy social outlet for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet up once a month, go for a beer, watch the band.
Yeah.
There's like a weird expectation in loads of arts industries, having come from, like Johnny said, from doing theatre and stuff into music. There's the same expectation, like Johnny said, that you do all of that. That is your life, and you live that, and you don't live any other way, because otherwise it's never going to work. And us as a four fundamentally disagree with it, because the nature of the job, of any kind of artistic job, and especially in music nowadays, like you say, it's inherently unstable. It's hard to tour. It's hard to release music. It's especially hard to make money. And to do that consistently is the toughest thing of all. So again, I'm just kind of reiterating what Johnny says, but we all believe that you should do everything that you can to stabilize the stuff when you're at home. And if that means doing something that's the opposite of, what's rock and roll, do you know what I mean? Like, who fucking cares? If it makes you happier and it makes it easier to come back and go, oh, well, I've come back to this and that's good, then fuck yeah, I think you owe it to yourself to do that.
And Anthony Green from Circus Survive said that the way that he balances it is giving 100% to each whilst he's there. So whilst he's away on tour, that's it, he's 100% focused on that. And then as soon as that's put to bed and he's not on tour for a while, they'll give 100% over to, his family life and building that, which is an interesting way. I said that to my girlfriend and she was like, so what am I meant to be doing when you're giving 100% to the band?
Well, that was going to be my point, is that I'm not too sure how I would feel about sort of compartmentalising parts of my life like that, and you would need to be very careful that you don't end up with two different people, and that this person can get away with things that this person can't get away with, and I would be very, very, but as long as you're aware of that, and as long as you think, right, and it's more a mindset than a complete change of person.
Oh yeah, of
then
course.
you would be complete.
Yeah.
You would be safe. But
There is no like right or wrong. I think you just have to. The only right is just finding out. That's the only thing that you can do.
Loving it.
Because there's other bands that we tour with who all are similar ages, but when they're at home still live with their parents, and that's not a bad thing. They do that because they don't want to have to worry about what's going on back home when they're touring. Whereas we would personally rather juggle having to pay rent or a mortgage or whatever it is with the band. I would rather do that than have to, put all my stuff back in my parents' house or whatever. I would just rather. So you just have to, I think there's no right or wrong. You just have to figure out what works for you.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you guys are on top of it, so kudos to you.
It does. It sounds like
Thank
you've got a
you.
nice gig on the go.
We're coming up to about 50 minutes, so it just like
Really?
zips by, man.
Jesus.
Zips by. We're going to talk politics because of Brexit and stuff, but we don't have time, man.
That's a whole other hour in it, I think, on top of it.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And when you come back to Glasgow, hopefully we won't be in a camping chair, we won't be sharing mics. I'll get you back for sure, and we can get an update on some stuff, man.
Pick us up from the venue in a Bentley. Come round the corner.
Maybe create a book fast rather than just...
Yeah.
But we're going to get you to sing a tune. So
Oh yeah.
I will probably cut and then we'll come back to that. But
Sick.
listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've had a blast, man. It's zipped by.
Yep.
Thanks
loved
for
it.
having us.
It's been great
Thank
talking
you so
to you.
much. It's been really
Cheers
cool.
for your insights, man. Cheers, man.
Good to do it. Thank you
Thanks,
very
man.
much.
Lots
Good.
of love.
Cheers, man.
Looking forward to seeing you tonight.
Thanks.
He's got fasting black lungs made of clove splintered shards. They're the kind that will talk through a wheezing of coughs. And I hear him every night, and every pour, and every time he just makes me warm. Freeze without an answer, free from all the shame. Must I hide? 'Cause I'll never sleep alone. Look at how they flock to him from an aisle of open sores. He knows that the taste is such is such to die for. And I hear him every night on every street. The snakes that do slither deliver me from freeze without an answer, free from all the shame. Must I hide? 'Cause I'll never sleep alone. Said I'm bloodshot for sure. And I hear him every night on every street. The snakes that do slither deliver me from freeze without an answer, free from all the shame. Must I hide? 'Cause I'll never sleep alone. Freeze without an answer, free from all the shame. Must I hide? 'Cause I'll never sleep alone.
That was amazing, mate.
Sitting on the floor singing.
It's a bit weird.